how have you found it? I wondered a few times as I've been sort of reading your work. You said earlier that, like the toughness of being a very, very austere school was nothing compared to what came later. I imagine, for example, we talked about your TED talk, attracting controversy. Your book that you said that was described as there was a review in Nature, wasn't there, that said a book for burning.
Yes, an
That
editorial
your
on the
ideas are
front page.
considered. Sorry, what was that?
It was an editorial on the front page, a book for burning.
Yes, and I wonder how you found that. Like, it can't have been easy to have sort of had your ideas received in such a sort of an aggressive way.
Well, at first I felt this was completely unjust because I played science by the rules. I publish all my stuff in peer-reviewed journals. I make rational arguments and stuff, and prepared to debate them with anyone. And so, I thought I'm playing by the rules, and then suddenly I found that actually the rules don't apply if you try and challenge some of these dogmas. It's so the editor of Nature basically said that my work should be, in the end, he said the book shouldn't be burned, but should put in protected shelf of a library, and that it compared unfavourably with other dangerous books like Mein Kampf by Hitler. I mean, that was his. Then basically, what he was trying to do was excommunicate me. And the result is,
Yeah.
from then on, I couldn't get a grant, I couldn't get a job, and whenever I was invited to give talks in universities, whoever invited me always had a problem with people who tried to cancel me. I've been cancelled many times. Cancel culture is nothing new. It's been going on in science for decades. And so anyway, at first I found this rather annoying, and I just thought it was unfair, because I was playing the game by the rules and they weren't, and yet they claimed to be upholding the rules of proper science. Then I came to see that actually these are not evil people. These are people who just really believe that they know the truth. They believe that science has revealed to them, mechanistic science has revealed the truth. All other approaches to truth, like religion, philosophy, etc., are muddled, superstitious, old-fashioned. The only thing that's right up there with the leading edge of human understanding is science, and they really believe in this. That they're basically fanatics or bigots because of their belief system, not because they've been bribed by drug companies, not because they're
Right.
conspiracies, but they really believe it. And they're really fighting for the truth. The only trouble is they have such a narrow view of the truth. So I'm in favor of fighting for the truth, but I just think it's a shame if one fights for a half truth or a partial truth.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, thank you for that. I mean, it always strikes me that you seem to deal with it really quite well. You seem very sort of unflappable in the face of belief of contradicting views, and you sort of say, well, here's. We were talking earlier about that fascinating conversation that you had with Daniel Dennett and Oliver Sacks, and there's five or
Stephen
six of you
Jay
sitting around a
Gould.
table. Stephen Jay Gould. 5 or 6 of you sitting around a table. There's about a 3.5 hour video on YouTube, and it's really, really interesting, and it's worth. But you really sort of hold yourself well in those conversations. Maybe all of that rugby and stuff and that character building stuff in your formative years was sort of helpful in giving you this unflappable demeanor. I don't know.
Well, I think it was partly, I mean, I'm not totally unflappable. Some things get at me, but not, yes, partly, I mean, partly that character building stuff I think has actually served me in good stead. Partly, I'm a Christian and I pray. I used to be an atheist when I was converted to mechanistic materialism as a teenager. But one of the big things about the Lord's Prayer, which I say every day, is, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those that trespass against us. Well, I definitely think some people have trespassed against me through these kinds of unfair attacks. So I just ask for the grace not to keep these burning resentments. I mean, resentment is a kind of corrosive thing. It corrodes the soul, and so every day I just try and let go. And if you pray for the grace to do it, I find it's much easier to do. So I don't wake up in the morning feeling resentful and angry, and it's just a much nicer way of living, and it's also
Yeah.
effective in dealing with people who are against what I'm saying. it's more effective not to get angry. It's much more effective to try and discuss it with them. And I studied martial arts at one stage, and I like the idea of sort of going with the flow of what they're saying and trying to take it further, so that it rather than opposing it.
Yes.
When you compare the sort of brute force method of American football with Japanese martial arts, it's a very different style, and I prefer the martial arts style.
Absolutely. Be like water and all that.
Welcome to Rethinking Education. Education's critical friend.